order of operations question to sort out. I'd like to introduce Jamie, our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Jamie Chippendale, and I lost my husband Paul to a rare form of pancreatic cancer on February 10th of last year. Last year, my emotions were still too raw to be able to come and speak on this behalf. So now, a year later, I will attempt to tell you our story. Paul and I were high school sweethearts, and on August 16, 1996, I was lucky enough to marry my best friend. God graced us with two beautiful, smart, and healthy girls, and our family was complete. We had everything. As most young adults, we lived life. We loved to travel, and we did so frequently. We owned a camper, which we loved, and 2 timeshares. We both worked 3 jobs so that we could afford the life that we lived. Then one day, our world exploded. On Tuesday, January 11, 2012, Paul was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. On Friday of that same week, Dr. Michael Stone and his team removed Paul's tumor. They were confident that they got it all. Things were looking up. He did have to undergo a second surgery to repipe his insides to adjust for all that they had to remove. That set us back a bit, but we were still plugging along on the road to recovery. Paul ended up spending 6 weeks in Boston Medical Center recovering. And once he had healed enough, it was time to start radiation to be sure that they did in fact get it all. He had some scans done to mark him for the radiation, and at that time they found that the cancer had metastasized. He now had 2 golf ball-sized tumors on his liver, 1 on each lobe. The radiation was out. So we changed our course and started chemo. Not only was this information devastating, but detrimental to our finances. Paul had to go from 3 jobs to none, and now I was traveling with him back and forth to Boston up to 5 times per week, so my working 3 jobs was not an option either. So we basically went from 6 jobs together to about half of one. And with that, everything went. The camper, the vacations, the eating out, the going out with friends, anything and everything extra was gone. And then there still wasn't enough money. People think that your medical bills are your only worry. To me, that was the least of it. I knew I could pay those in installments, the daily money for gas to go to and from Boston, the money to park in the garage since that's necessary, or just the money to grab a coffee so I don't fall asleep driving us home after a 15-hour day. Where was that all going to come from? I barely had enough money to put food on the table, and as the gas prices would go up, so my anxiety. And my biggest concern was my girls. My heart and soul, my whole life. These 2 beautiful faces that had to deal with the upheaval of their lives, watching the strongest man that they've ever known grow weaker and weaker, and our whole lives do a complete 360 in front of their eyes. The only luxury that I could afford them was that my girls go to a Catholic school. We had given up everything we had, but their school too. I just couldn't bear that. At this point, we needed God more than ever. We needed normalcy, and they needed their friends. To force them to go to a public school because I could no longer afford their education, I couldn't bear to think of doing that to them. I prayed harder and stronger than I ever had. I told God that although I hated it, I understood that His will had to be done, and Paul's story had already been written, and I would accept whatever outcome He had chose for us, but please not my girls too. This was when we had heard about the Fly Foundation. Julia and her Fly Foundation committee granted us the greatest gift that we could have ever received. They sent us a grant that paid my mortgage and some other bills that allowed me to free up what little savings we had left to allow my girls to stay at their school. I know to some that this may sound like a luxury, but to us this was definitely a necessity. We have since lost my husband, and the families at our school, they've held us up. The day of his funeral, we we looked out into a sea of navy blue support. The students and the staff came in their uniforms, and they, along with our family and friends, carried us through that day. I don't remember very much about that day, but I do remember all of the blue. And last year for Christmas, Julia sent us a gift card to make sure that my daughters had a wonderful holiday. It was their last Christmas with their father, and the Flood Foundation made it spectacular. They were the sunshine through the rain in my darkest of times. There are many foundations out there to help young children with cancer, but not very many to help young adults. As young adults, we mostly feel more. That is when people buy homes and vehicles and live outside their means because they're young enough to have a lifetime ahead of them to work those bills off. No one expects that they're going to get cancer and their life is going to change in the blink of an eye. And when that happens, what do? How do you not lose everything that you've ever worked for? How do you help those that you love not be left with a lifetime of debt in the case of your passing? How do you remain strong enough to fight cancer when the stress of this is killing you all on its own? What do? You turn to Fly Foundation. The caring people who listen to your story and help you any way they can. You turn to Fly Foundation to help pay your mortgage so you don't have to worry where your family will live. You turn to Fly Foundation to help to buy groceries so that your girls do not go without a meal. You turn to Fly Foundation to allow the children to remain at their school and endure one less loss. You turn to Fly Foundation to hold you and keep your head above water. To Julia and everyone involved in this foundation, I thank you. My family thanks you. And most of all, my dear husband thanks you.